All right, this is old school. So, been driving. Finally made it. Let's pretend like I just got to my trailer, okay? There's our fifth wheel. There's our kingpin, okay? What I was telling you guys about earlier, what I want you to see this handle right here is pulled out, right? See down in there? This piece right here, a lot of times what'll happen is when you back under this trailer and you hit that kingpin, if you don't hit it just right, that locking jaw, this is called a locking jaw. What'll happen is this mechanism will go over here and lock. What you got to do is take an old load bar lock or an old load bar and take it apart and get half of it and stick it down in there. See all that grease? That's why I said you're gonna get dirty earlier. Take that low bar lock and slide in and push it back into position. This handle will still be out. This will be closed. Okay, that's the first part of it. So anyway, I pulled up to this trailer and I want to hook up to this trailer. So the first thing I'm gonna do is put my truck in a position where, as you can see, it's in a position to hook up. Okay, so let's pretend like I just backed all the way under the trailer and it was too high. What happened? That kingpin, we're gonna use this cup as a scenario, gets trapped right here. Now I can't get it out. I'm screwed. How do I do it, Big D? How do I get from behind this thing? Well, since we're gonna use this as our kingpin, the coffee cup, show you a little trick. It's the oldest trick in the book, the easiest trick in the book, but it's the oldest trick in the book. It's one that you will never forget. Take you an old oil bottle, an old antifreeze bottle, any type of old bottle that you may have. And what you're gonna do is, you're gonna put it under here, okay? Why is that? Because what happens is, this fifth wheel tilts. See that? It tilts forward, tilts back, tilts forward, tilts back. What you gotta do is, get this oil bottle, and it's gonna be under the trailer when this happens. Tilt it forward, slide that oil bottle under there, leave it. Now the plate is what? Tilted forward, okay? You can slide it under there some more, make it tilt some more, okay? But our kingpin is still here, but we've eliminated part of the problem. Second part of the problem is, you're gonna have to come back here to your landing gear, okay? And you're gonna have to crank it up. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna start to see light between the tunnel. You're gonna see light between the trailer and the fifth wheel, because the fifth wheel is gonna be underneath. It's gonna be right here because it's gonna be so far back because you didn't stop at this point to make sure that the trailer wasn't too high and the trailer wasn't too low. Low is easy, high is hard. Why? Because you're gonna slide all the way up here and the trailer's gonna be right here. Now, if you got fairings, say goodbye to them. You see that bar up there? Especially if you got a reefer, what happens is your reefer is gonna hit that bar. When it hit that bar, it's gonna bend it. You can bend it out, but you'll never forget it. So you wanna be in position like this. Crank your landing gear up, and you're gonna crank it and crank it and crank it while that's still under there, because you're gonna have to get under the trailer until your kingpin hits that position right there. Then what you're gonna do is get back up in the truck, ride forward a little bit, and get it to set right here on top of the fifth wheel. Once it does that, oh, I'm sorry, forgot a step. What you gonna do from this point, I'm sorry, my fault. Everything I set up to this point, but what you're gonna do is, it's still here. You've already cranked, before you crank your landing gear up, okay, so landing gear is second. So we've already did the first step, which is this fifth wheel is stuck under the trailer. We took an oil bottle and we slid it under here. Here's your second step. Your second step is, I apologize, fellas. That was my fault. I should have shown y'all that. Come over here. You see that? You see that? That's your airbags. Drop them. Let them drop, because that's going to give you the extra drop. Now that you've slid the oil bottle underneath the fifth wheel, you get that extra drop with the airbags. You hear it hissing and blowing. All right. So what we gonna do is watch and see the airbags are starting to drop. By the time them airbags, just let them drop all the way down. By the time them airbags drop, it should be right about here somewhere. But if it still isn't, and the airbag is the second step, this is the first. First step, airbag, second step. Third step is to come back here and crank up the landing gear, okay? And you want to crank, because what happens is once you drop them airbags, you should have no problem. You should have no problem getting that kingpin, which is here, getting that kingpin, and we're using this coffee cup as a simulator. Get it right here. What you're trying to do is get that kingpin on the top of the fifth wheel. So the first step is to bend your plate forward, stick your oil bottle under there. That's the first step. I don't want to miss no steps. Get up in the cab of your truck, flip on your airbags, let the tractor drop down. It's going to give you a little space. When you see that it gets to a certain point, come back here, crank up your landing gear. When you crank up your landing gear, you want to get it to a point where you can see the light. And now in this case, this trailer is low, and I'm going to show you how to get under a low trailer, okay? And that's probably because of the rain, but that is how you get from under a kingpin that has gotten behind the fifth wheel here, and you trying to pull and go down. And you don't have to go through that if you do your due diligence. Your due diligence is to back up to this point, get out the damn truck and look, man. Stop sitting up in the truck and not wanting to do nothing and think this is an easy job. It's not. And it tells a lot of intricate things, i.e. this being one of them. If you just slide under the trailer right here and you get past that kingpin and to get in front of this fifth wheel here, right here, you get in front of it, you got some work to do to get from under it, which is not hard. It's just the fact that if you had did it this way in the first place and set up, you would have known. Because see, experienced drivers, we can sit up in the cab, because we can look in the mirror and we can go, I can see that, you know, my trailer is too high, because the high is coming under the wheels and highs. And what that is that in some shippers, and I'm gonna leave you guys with this, in some shippers, because I got to go to the next segment, in some shippers, they have a tendency to lift the landing gear up higher, and they lift the landing gear higher because their docks are set up a certain way. This is the way it used to be in the old days. So the yard guy would get out there and he crank the landing gear up so high that when you came to the trailer, it'd be too high. Maybe you pissed him off. Maybe you pissed somebody off in there. That's how they would get back at you also. Crank your landing gear all the way up. And then, guess what? You didn't know it was cranked up because you didn't know what to look for, and you was a new guy, and you back right up under, and bam, here you end up. So do your due diligence, fellas. Make sure that when you get to this point here, which is right where the fifth wheel is in the trailer, get out the truck, walk your behind back here, and make sure this trailer is not too high. Now, if it's too low, I'm going to show you that in the next segment before it gets dark. But I made sure I kept the promise that I was going to show y'all how to get from behind the fifth wheel. All right? This is Old School signing out. Now y'all got how to get from behind a kingpin that got trapped behind the fifth wheel. I'm gone.